Hi guys, it's Ray here from Just for Keepers, also called J4K. Hope you're fitting well. So in this quick training video and podcast, I'm super excited to be answering a question that I've never been asked in over 20 years running Just for Keepers. And then when I got asked this question, I was like, I can't believe I never thought of this question, because I actually did this as a professional goalkeeper myself for 10 years. Now, if you go to my Ask Ray Newland section, so I've got a section on our website, j4ksports.com. Go and check it out. It's with a digit 4, j4ksports.com. I've got a section there that says Ask Ray Newland, or I might say free help for parents. But go and check it out, and there's about 50 videos there where I answer every question that I've been asked multiple times over the years running Just for Keepers. Obviously I've done this to help goalkeepers and parents of goalkeepers and goalkeeping coaches, etc. But I can't believe I never thought of this question. So it comes from Davey, who hopefully I pronounced that right. Davey, who emailed me this question. Now Davey's based up in Scotland, in the UK. And he emailed in on behalf of his goalkeeping child, and he basically said, Ray, you know, should I be making sure my goalkeeping child wears different football boots, or football cleats as they're called in the United States and elsewhere? Should my goalkeeping child be wearing different football boots for artificial surfaces and on grass? And the answer is definitely yes. Or it depends on the grass surface, which I'll come to that in a moment. So I'll tell you how I used to do it, because I'll basically answer the question, and also I'll mention a massive mistake what a lot of goalkeepers make. And I've actually made this mistake myself when I played. But basically, you should have two sets of like I always. If you watch my other videos, I always say that a goalkeeper should take two sets of goalkeeping gloves with them to every single game. So if you especially if you're playing away and you don't know what the playing surface is going to be like, you should take two pairs of gloves. One pair of gloves obviously will be your best goalkeeping gloves, and the other ones will be a pair of gloves. It could be your training goalkeeping gloves, for example. And if you get to an away game and the playing surface is terrible, there's mud all over the field, etc., or the field is bone dry, and obviously, you know, we've all played on those horrible council fields where there's not a blade of grass, and the pitch is solid. Shame on you, council. Start spending your money that people pay you. You've got no excuse, you lazy so-and-sos. Sorry guys, I've got no time for any council. So I always advise take two pairs of goalkeeping gloves. So if you get to an away game and the playing surface is really bad, it's no point putting your best goalkeeping gloves on, because one, they're going to be destroyed, and two, the poor playing surface is going to be a leveler. So there's no point putting a top of the range pair of goalkeeping gloves on, if that makes sense. You might as well put your training gloves on, because the playing surface has basically neutralised your top of the range gloves, if that makes sense. And it's sort of similar with the footwear that you should use as well. Now, on artificial surfaces, obviously you can't wear the metal studs. You've obviously got to wear, you know, I used to call them moldies in the day. You know, obviously like the Predators, where you get like the plastic molds. Obviously that's suitable for the AstroTurf or the artificial surface. So obviously on an artificial surface, obviously you should be wearing footwear suitable for artificial surface, because obviously you can't wear studs on that type of playing surface. But when you play on the grass, okay, yeah, it depends on the playing surface. A bit like I explained before with the goalkeeping gloves. So again, this is why you should always take two pairs of football boots or footwear with you especially when you play away and you don't know what the playing surface is going to be like. So when you play away, and the first thing you should be doing as a goalkeeper, or a parent of a goalkeeper, you do this with your goalkeeping child. The first thing you do before you even go into the changing rooms is you go and check the playing surface to see what it's like, and then that will determine what goalkeeping gloves you're going to choose, and also what footwear that you're going to wear. So for example, if you get to a playing surface and it's rock solid, okay, and it's quite firm, you might as well use the footwear that you wore for the artificial surfaces, because obviously you don't want to be wearing studs, you know, this thick, this big, if the grass is solid, because it's like sometimes like playing on concrete, isn't it? So that's when you would wear your molded studs, if that makes sense. However, if you get to an away game and the playing surface is the grass is very, very soft, that's when you should wear your studs. And this is a mistake a lot of goalkeepers made, and I made this only once when I played, is what they do is they'll wear the footwear that is suitable for artificial surfaces or hard ground. They also wear them when the ground is either wet, slippy, or obviously full of mud. And you should not be wearing artificial footwear when the surface is soft and slippy, etc. Because you're basically going to slip everywhere, because you're not going to get the grip that you would with the studs. So that's what I would do. As a goalkeeper, if you're a goalkeeping coach, you should be teaching your students this. Or if you're a parent of a goalkeeper, make sure your goalkeeping child takes 2 pairs of gloves with them for the reasons I've already explained, and then also two sets of footwear. Obviously, one for the artificial surface or the hard ground, and one for the soft ground. For soft ground, I believe you should always wear studs. Always wear studs, because you get a lot more grip. And here's a little tip for you as well. What I used to do when I used to play professionally and semi-professionally, actually I did this as a youngster. Actually, my dad did this for me as a youngster. My father did this. This is where I got this sort of trick from. So what my father used to do is, obviously, when he used to purchase my football boots, obviously the studs, the back 2 studs are quite big, aren't they? And the front 2 are a bit smaller. What my father used to do for me, and I actually did this playing throughout professional football, we used to go to the local sports shop and buy the silver rugby studs. Now, I don't know how hard they're going to become by now. Obviously, a lot of the sports shops have gone now, so you might have to do a bit of Googling for them. And then the rugby studs are quite big. And then what I used to do as a professional goalkeeper is buy these rugby studs. When I used to get me boots, and it used to be normally Puma Kings or Adidas, I forgot what they were called now, come to me in a second, but it used to be either Puma King or another pair of Adidas. The first thing I used to do is take all the studs out, throw them in the bin, or keep them as spares, and then I'd get the rugby studs, the silver rugby studs that are quite big studs, and I would put them in, normally obviously you get 6 holes to put them in, and I'd put the 2 in the back and the 4 in the front, and it'd all be this big. And what that did, especially when the surface was like, quite soft, as I say, it really did give me that grip that I needed. And also as well, it made me an inch taller. So I'm 6'4", and wearing these studs were like, obviously this big. So, I was nearly 6'5". It was like, so obviously it makes you look a bit more intimidated as well. So that's what I would do. If you're a goalkeeping coach, please advise this to your students, especially if you're a goalkeeper, or especially if you're a parent of a goalkeeper. Yeah, don't make the mistake as what most goalkeepers make, is that, because obviously a lot of games now are on artificial surfaces, and I think as the years go by, I think more and more games will be on artificial surfaces. And again, I don't want to start getting on about the councils again, because any excuse for them to obviously build on green belt or on green spaces, and and create a facility where they can charge the earth. Unfortunately, sadly, they're going to do that. So I think more and more, obviously, it's going to be artificial surfaces moving forward as we move forward in the future. But again, please don't make the mistake most goalkeepers make, is that the footwear for the artificial surfaces, they'll wear it on the grass surfaces when it's like really wet and muddy, etc. And as I say, you're not going to have any grip. You're going to slip everywhere. It could increase increase injury, etc. So make sure that you have a pair of football boots or cleats that is suitable for wet weather, or especially a plain surface where your feet are going 1 inch, 2 inches, 3 inches into the ground. So I hope that tip helps. Davey, that's a really, really good question, as I say, because for years I always say I've always been advising goalkeepers and goalkeeping coaches and parents of goalkeepers to make sure that you take 2 pairs of goalkeeping gloves with you to every single game, for the reasons I've already explained in this video. But I completely forgot to explain about, I personally think that you should be taking, a pair of two pairs of footwear, obviously, especially when you play away. Now, you could be lucky, you could be in a country, where it's consistent. So for example, I live in between the UK and Florida. So for the most part in Florida, that it's quite consistent, or you know that you're always going to play on artificial surfaces, or you know that if you're going to play on a grass surface, you know it's going to be more or less the same as, you know, playing on an artificial surface. So again, you know, each country or each state or again, I spent a lot of time coaching in Canada. Each province is different. So it might be the case that you might live in a state or a country where you think, you know what, right, it's okay. Doesn't matter, you know, I'll always be able to get away with this type of footwear. Then you get countries, obviously, like to the UK, where I'm originally from England, where it can be literally, seriously, you can play on one surface on the Saturday, and on the Sunday you can literally travel 10 miles away and play on another surface, and it'll be completely different. And again, I've been to countries that would have coached, like in Holland, Slovakia, what else? Czech Republic, for other places as well. My geography's gone. Hungary, you know, for example, you know. So and again, they're sort of similar to England, where, you know, on the Saturday you could be playing on one playing surface, and the following day, literally 5 minutes around the corner, it's a completely different surface. So again, you've got to, you know, take where you live into consideration as well. So if you're lucky enough that you don't have to have two sets of footwear, that's fantastic. But if you live in a country or a state or a province where, as I say, on the Saturday and the Sunday it's completely different playing surfaces, I would really recommend that you do that. So I hope that tip helps. Again, anything below, guys, okay, if you're watching this video and you could comment below, please comment below. What would you do? What do you do? You know, let me know where you live, and what do you do? You know, do you have to take two sets of footwear with yourself, or is there any tips and help that you can help your fellow goalkeeping? As I say, what would you do when you go and play your football matches, especially when you play away? What do you do to make sure that you take the correct gear and footwear especially? So please put your comments below. Keepers Union, help your fellow goalkeepers. So hope that tip helped, guys. And again, thank you, Davey, for such an amazing question. I can't believe I never thought of answering that beforehand, but it just shows you, obviously, you know, there's that much to goalkeeping, you know, as I say. But thanks for asking that question, Davey. That would really help the goalkeeping community, especially the J4K community. So thanks a million. Have a wonderful day, guys, and keep those clean sheets coming. Take care.